and go. In the past, we have read a lot of stories. We have heard the story of the alchemist. We have heard stories of fables. We have heard stories of people going after their dreams. But then today we have got Salil here, who went after his dream this year, who went to, I won't call it the Theatre of Dreams because that is the name for Old Trafford. But yeah, who went to achieve his dream this year and who went to Anfield, had pictures clicked there. And of course, like for me as a Liverpool fan, it was something great to see and something which I really followed very much on social media. And of course, Salil was kind enough to, discuss about it, to talk about it, and also to, share pictures of it on social media. So, Salil, it has been a long time coming. Welcome to this YouTube Live with the Indie Football Podcast. We are really pleased to have you here. And of course, like one more thing I would like to tell our guests is that check out his page, the Scouse Foodie. You will fall in love with the food he makes just by looking at it. Anyway, so Sajid, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Anukarsh. Thank you for the wonderful introduction that you gave. Yes, I mean the journey's been amazing overall. It's been therapeutic at times, which I will discuss in depth once we go deeper into the podcast. Uh, but thank you so much for firstly having me on the show, and it's. I hope we can have some wonderful conversations and deep dives into the club that we all love and support.
Absolutely. Rahul, so Rahul, as like I have told you before, and like I would like to tell our viewers that he does a great job with the thumbnails, with the write-ups, and he's a lot more than that. He shuffles a couple of jobs there also, and does a great job there also at managing teams and working well with the Indie Football Podcast. For someone who has largely stayed behind the scenes, Rahul, welcome to this YouTube live. How are you doing today, mate?
I'm doing very well. I'm very gasped to do this after like 3-4 months probably, and I waited for this day for a very long time, man.
Yeah, so the stage is yours. Ask Salil bhai any whatever you want to ask.
Yeah. So, firstly, we would talk about football as we go deeper. Firstly, I want to ask about the passion you have for food. Like you already know the ongoing meme regarding British food that they conquered like half the world for spices, but they lack so much in their food. So, what do you say regarding this like food of Britain and especially in the Liverpool region? What is your opinion on that?
See, when you go back or take a deep memory, what do you say, a walk down memory lane? Of course, British food over the years has evolved, right? Because previously it used to be steak and pies, but now with immigration, and a lot of movement around the world, a lot of people from around the world are settling in the UK, and they bring their cultural food with them, right? So now you see a lot of diversity, especially in cities like London and Manchester, but in some of the tier 2 and tier 3 cities in the UK, it's still pretty old style. They don't move away from their fish and chips and their steaks and mash and stuff like that. But overall, I guess the food scene in the UK, especially in London, is quite diverse. Of course, London being London, that is. But if you go to Liverpool also, or Manchester as well, there are certain signs of Liverpool is an immigrant city, by the way. I hope you know the history of Liverpool, that it is an immigrant city, and it is anti-Tory. So a lot of people from outside are welcome. So I'm sorry if there's a lot of disturbance. Living in Toronto has its pros and cons. Um, so, yeah, I mean, Liverpool to a great extent is still largely British when it comes to its cuisine, right? You will still find your fish and chips, and since it's close to the River Mersey, you'll still find the best of fish and chips and some of the best steakhouses there. But having said that, since there's been a lot of immigration over the years, you will see the odd Turkish bar here and there. You'll see a lot of Irish influence in the city. There are a lot of Irish people in the city, by the way, and Scottish people as well.
Yeah.
And there is also the oldest Chinatown in Europe in Liverpool. So you might find some good spots to have some good Chinese food as well, in near L1. So I would highly recommend that if you love Liverpool or any of the clubs that you support, whoever's listening to this, I know it's difficult because financial situations are not really kind on some people at times. But I really hope whichever club you support, I hope at least once in your lifetime you get to go to the city and a club and watch a game. If not watch a game, at least visit the city, have the experience, because uh, traveling to the places you actually want to travel really is therapeutic, and it really can change the entire mood and the perception in life in general.
Absolutely. That is a very resounding view on like what you're given on the food in Merseyside and in the UK. So, Salil, delving more into football. Tell us a bit about when you went to Anfield, and discovering the city, achieving your dream. Like, tell us all about it. Like, we really want to know how you felt getting into the stadium, all that. Give us a dive into your experience.
Uh, Actually, it's been coming. It's been long overdue. I had initially planned to go in 2015 when Klopp was just appointed. I
Oh.
was then back in India, but due to some reasons, I was not able to apply for the UK visa and go and watch a game there. As it is, getting tickets is now getting more and more difficult, if not impossible. But coming to Toronto actually changed the entire game altogether, because being associated with the supporters club, going through the supporters club at times, I felt I hit the jackpot. And we have one of the best supporters club in the country in Toronto, if not the world. And the way they organize things, the way they structurally want people to go and enjoy and have that experience of watching a Liverpool game at Anfield is second to none. So I had a very streamlined, a very smooth transition from from Toronto going to Anfield, and of course, I had to book my own tickets and I had to spend my own money. Make no mistake. But having said that, what I would recommend is, if to anyone listening, whether whichever part of the world you are, I know it's difficult, but I think it's you need to start saving a bit well in advance if you really want to travel to the UK. It's not really a cheap country to travel to. It's quite expensive. It's going to get more and more expensive as days goes by. So I would recommend at least a good 6, 7 to 8 months of good proper savings. Decide maybe a year in advance when, if you wish to travel. Say if you want to travel to Liverpool or any of the clubs you want to visit in the UK, at least start saving at least 6 to 8 months in advance. Apply for your visas in time. I know it makes a difference when you're in Canada, because since you have a PR, and if you have a passport, it really helps. You don't need to apply for a visa if you have a Canadian citizenship. But if you're here on student visa, work visa, or a PR, you need to apply for a UK visa for a minimum of 6 months if you're going there on a tourist visa. Things are pretty streamlined. Once you get your visa, you fly into the UK. You have enough options to either go via London or from Manchester or whichever place you want to go to. Ideally, these are two destinations. But it is more important that you land a ticket first because you'll have everything in advance. And when I mean ticket, I mean a match ticket. Getting a match ticket through credible sources is difficult, but I would still recommend that if people want to go, use the supporters club is one of the options. Or if you have a lot of money, you always have the option of going via the hospitality way, but it's going to cost you,
Right.
which is hospitality tickets range anywhere from £1,000 to say 1,800 pounds. So it really is expensive, but if you really are bullish on and have that sort of money to spend, by all means go ahead and buy it. Um, but I do highly recommend that people at least once in a lifetime visit Liverpool if you're a Liverpool supporter. My experience has been absolutely incredible. There are certain moments. The one moment where I actually met Jurgen Klopp and Van Dijk, and I'm not somebody who gets what do you say? I'm pretty thorough with the things I want to say, and I don't really fumble a lot. But seeing Klopp right in front of you was like me being a 5 year old in a candy shop. I really didn't know how to react. I didn't know what to say. It was the biggest fanboy moment of my life. My apologies.
Did
So
you talk? Did you guys talk? Like,
yes. In fact, so I wanted. So this was for anyone who wants. I will get into how you can maybe try and get a chance. It's not easy to find get players. There's no guarantee that you will get to meet players. Let me be very honest. But I can discuss maybe a little bit of detail of how maybe you can try your luck. But I can share my experience. So I was waiting outside the hotel where the players usually stay, and they are only there during the day of the game or the day prior. So that is the only chance maybe you can try and get as close to the players if possible. Whether they stop and sign for an autograph with you is entirely on your luck, because the security guards can really push you away and push you like a rag doll. So you need to be careful there. So when Klopp came in front, and I was like, I don't know what to say, right? I froze, and I wanted to say that this has been the biggest moment of my life, and I ended up saying I've waited for this moment my entire life. And Klopp being Klopp, you know how he laughs, he ha 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 and stuff like that. And I fumbled up some German words that I wanted to say to him. Instead of saying thank you, I ended up saying good afternoon to him. And Klopp laughed even more and stuff like that. But the experience, he stood there for a second, a quick second. Unfortunately, he was about to leave. His face turned a bit, but I got a photo with him. I
Right.
was able to take a photo with Van Dijk, and unfortunately, some of the other players didn't really stop. The security guards don't let you too close to the players for security reasons. But it is what it is. I tried my best, but some of the players don't stop. It's entirely up to them. So yes, I mean, once you see the players that you absolutely love and adore right in front of you, the overall experience of being in Liverpool as a city, it's a very friendly city, even otherwise, footballing reasons or otherwise. Liverpool is a very accepting city as compared to some of the other cities in the UK, because immigration has happened. People are friendly. They love football over there. They love to have people over there and hear their experiences of the city. And even the moment you land at Lime Street station at Liverpool, people are like, welcome to Liverpool, and they're smiling, and they're very nice to you, they're very warm. The perception that people have created on social media is that Liverpool is bad and stuff. Have never been to Liverpool in the first place. Anyone who goes to Liverpool will only say positive things. I'm sure a lot of rival fans who've been to Liverpool will only say the same things, because you will never come across where hear stories of people getting beaten up, or there are issues. Of course, there have been some fringe elements in the past that have done that during the Champions League game against Roma, but those were Italian fans,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And not all Roma fans are like that. Those were the fringe ultra fans that actually did whatever they did, and it's unfortunate. But it's when you go to Liverpool, the people there, the vibe there, I don't think I've ever smiled so much in my life being in a city as much as being in Liverpool, because I was wherever I went, there was a smile on my face, which it's pretty rare. I don't really smile a lot. I don't really. I'm quite. I'm to myself. I keep myself reserved to a great extent. Um, but yeah, please do visit Liverpool. I would highly recommend it. It's do the tour at Anfield, irrespective whether you get a ticket or not. If you're in the UK, try going to Liverpool. See the area around. The area around the Mersey is very nice. The Royal Albert Dock is a beautiful place during the sunset. You'll have the River Mersey flowing up to you. The sunset is beautiful. The liveaboard buildings are something that you should see, and there are a lot of things over there that you can do. There's also a Jurgen's Club right outside the Albert Dock. Highly recommend you visit there, because it's like mini Anfield inside. You'll have songs from Jamie Webster playing there. You'll see a huge board of Jurgen Klopp. It's dedicated to Jurgen Klopp, right? So you must visit those places. You must visit Anfield. You must visit the areas outside Anfield, and the Sandon Club, especially. Anyone who is going to Liverpool or wants to go to Liverpool and want a list of things, I have a list of things with me which is ready. So feel free to get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to share it with you, because I get very excited now, especially when people go to Liverpool, because I've been there myself. So I can put myself in their shoes and feel that that energy again. And
Absolutely. I mean, sorry to interrupt you here, but listening to a journey, it's giving me goosebumps right here at this point of time. And someone who's going to take the Anfield tour is my co-host Doi Payan, who could not be here today because he has to fly for the UK in 1.5 hours. But yeah, he is doing an Anfield tour on October 6th. And honestly, I remember during the time when you were posting about it, seeing you with Klopp and all those photos, and there was this photo in which you were holding the scarf, I guess, and
yeah,
at Anfield, and it was beautiful. It was surreal seeing you like that, and honestly, I'm sure it must have meant a lot. Rahul, since you are a Chelsea fan here, and you have written, give me all of her players, give us all of her players here, because after you took in Caicedo and Lavia and stand at 5 points out of 5 games with your only win being against Luton Town. Don't get me wrong here. But jokes apart, like as a fan, how much would it mean to you to go and visit the Stamford Bridge, or be there with the legends, like say shake hands with Pochettino, or like maybe be there with the greats, maybe shake hands with Lampard if you could. Like, what would it mean to you as a fan? Like, give us an insight into that.
First of all, like if I am a Chelsea fan, it is all because of Lampard. Like he has been the defining moment. It is not like one of his goals or one of his assists. It is his entire career which made me a fan of Chelsea. I am also a Barca fan. I've been supporting them for a very long time, but it is the Chelsea who made me fall in love with the game. Like the Lampard, Drogba, they have been the phenomenal stars in my life. I loved Hazard. Like when he went to Real Madrid, it was like very heartbreaking. I have probably never felt so sad in my life when I heard that he is living for Madrid. So obviously, it is a dream come true, man. Even if you remember the conversation we had with Doip, I just told him ki for my birthday, just bring few grasses of Stanford Bridge. Like it is my dream to just go there and enjoy the moment. So yeah, that's probably. I also want to ask Sahil a question.
Yeah.
It is like, what is your defining moment? Like you have been supporting Liverpool for a very long time, I guess. So what was your defining moment or defining season? What made you such a big fan of Liverpool?
So let me give you a little brief about how I started my Liverpool journey before I get to that question. I've been a Liverpool fan since 1998. Uh, Football back then was not really big in India because the Premier League actually started broadcasting in the year 2000 and 2001, the year after United won the treble, right? And I was actually touring Singapore that year with my parents, and I was quite young. I must have been 8 or 9 years old, and I think Liverpool were doing a pre-season that year in Singapore, which they usually used to do back in the day when they used to tour Asia and those countries, right? They still do, but seeing posters of Danny Murphy and Michael Owen and all of these players right in front of you, the in Singapore is completely different. It's a city that loves its football, especially there's a massive Liverpool following in Singapore, and looking at that actually changed my liking, because I used to like cricket at one point, but once I started loving football, there was no looking back. There was no other sports that was meant for me, and so unfortunately, I left a week before Liverpool were touring the week after. So Liverpool is supposed to come the next week, and I left this week. So that is what changed, and then I bought a CD of FIFA 99, and I used to usually take Liverpool,
Beautiful game, man. I used to love
and
it.
that's nostalgia,
Yeah,
right? It's a mix of FIFA 99, and you had, trust me, the 90s had the best footballers in the world. I don't think the 90s can ever be replicated.
yeah,
Even if AI comes into the picture and makes players again, I don't think the 90s can ever be replicated. The sheer nostalgia, the quality of players every club had. Coming back to Liverpool, so I came back to Mumbai, and that's how I started supporting Liverpool. And trust me, Liverpool were not winning anything when I started supporting them. A lot of people know that. People keep jibing that we all didn't win this, you all didn't win for so long and stuff. Doesn't matter if your club wins or loses. It's the support that you have when they're not winning matters more than supporting the club when they're winning. Anyone can support the best teams in the world.
yeah.
Some clubs are just meant to be for you, and Liverpool was for me, right? So, and moving on, and coming back to the defining moment, I don't think I can say there's just one, but I think had 2005 not happened, I don't think Liverpool would have been on the footballing map the way they are today, because
Hmm.
the sheer manner in which that Liverpool team, out of nowhere, a team of absolute ordinaires, who had their moments, going up against possibly the greatest ever assembled squad of AC Milan under Carlo Ancelotti, who had already won
Right.
a Champions League 2 years before that. To have those sort of players and that sort of team, I still pinch myself as to how the hell did we beat that team. I think if that
Yeah.
2005 final, had we not won that final, I think Liverpool's trajectory would have been something else altogether. I think that is what changed Liverpool and put them back on the footballing map if they weren't already. But at least in the Asian subcontinent, or Southeast Asia per se, is where the amount of support has actually started growing up to 2005. So most of the Liverpool fans that you'll come across will be my age, who are closer to 40, or much older. There are people who are 80 and 90 years old who still go to games. By the way, at Anfield, you'll still find them, and you also find a mix of people who started supporting after Fernando Torres came in, who are relatively younger, and so on. So
Hmm.
I would say 2005. Had that not happened, I don't think Liverpool would be where we are today.
So, like, it was your insight regarding the past of the club. Let's talk about the present and the upcoming days. Uh, what is your opinion regarding the Liverpool signings? Like, how the club would perform in this season? On, like, it's kind of a transitioning team. It would take some time for this to work. But what
Yeah.
is like your thoughts on the future of the club?
The future of the club depends entirely on how FSG want to run it.
Right.
But having said that, till the time we have Klopp, I have absolute faith in we can do anything we want. The
Hmm.
man is something else.
Surreal, absolutely.
I mean, sheer aura that of being around Klopp in itself is so positive, because I've felt that sort of. I don't really feel a lot of positive vibes that easily with a lot of people. It's that far and few bit. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. The man is full of life. Even when things are going downhill, he'll be optimistic about a lot of things. Forget footballing aspects. Even if you're down in life in general, irrespective whichever club you support, you should listen to the likes of Jurgen Klopp. The guy is, because he comes from a very humble background, he's seen those days and stuff, so he's able to relate to it. And that is why one of the reasons why choosing Liverpool as a city is because of that. People are hardworking, they're the middle class and stuff like that, so he relates. And having a big history mattered, of course. But you know uh, coming backwards, I got so lost in my thought. What was your question again, if I may ask? Sorry.
It was about like how you think like the future of the club, like
Yeah.
the new signings, what would they do, and
I,
how
I
would
think with regards to new signings, they were a little delayed to a great extent, because there was
Hmm.
a massive void in the middle when till the time the Soboslai and the next deals that happened, right? Because there was a lot of, very well how the Lavia and the Caicedo deals went through for Chelsea and for
And
Liverpool.
someone has a smile on his
And
face.
and in fact, I look at it as a blessing in disguise, because of course
yeah.
it was pandemonium, right? Because nobody saw it coming the way it ended up and who ended where. Because over here, at around 2 in the night, I was on my phone and I started seeing these messages like, we have agreed a deal with Caicedo, and suddenly the next day he makes a U-turn, and Fabrizio Romano, being the fraud that he is, does a lot of legwork for a lot of people. Yes, I called him a fraud because he's a copy paste merchant. I'm sorry, that's how it is. Uh, but having said that, I think. The signings made by us, now that we've signed Gravenberch at the very end, I think on deadline day we signed him. Just a day before deadline day, we signed Gravenberch. Getting Soboslai and McAllister, I think, would be the turning point for us this season, because it was long overdue that we actually signed a midfielder. The last midfielder we signed was Thiago, and that was 4 years back.
Hmm.
Before
Right.
that, the last defender we signed was Konate, and that was 3 years back. So
Hmm.
Liverpool haven't really had that sort of, what do you say, the transition like some other teams like City or Chelsea have,
Balance.
the luxury of spending or splurging that sort
Hmm.
of money for whatsoever reasons. I don't want to get into the anti and pro FAG agenda, to each their own. But Liverpool didn't really do that for whatsoever reasons. And after Michael Edwards left, we all had this Michael Edwards. I hope you know who he was. Michael Edwards was as pivotal as what Jurgen Klopp is
Yeah.
to us.
Absolutely.
So what Jurgen Klopp is to us as a manager, Michael Edwards was the pioneer of setting up the art of scouting for us, and a lot of clubs followed suit after that. So the likes of Salah, Mane, and so on, who came to the club, Allison, Robo, Wijnaldum, all of them were actually recommended by Edwards. So he played
Hmm.
a big part in the success that Liverpool have had under Jurgen Klopp. And once he left and then Ward took over, there was a void there as well, and the players that we wanted didn't really happen. But talking about this season, after what happened last season, I wasn't really expecting much. I was like, as much as possible, since we didn't want to be in the Europa League, to be honest. But now that we are there, make the most of it. Let's try winning it. If we win it, we get an automatic qualification to the Champions League, and so it's a European trophy. And Liverpool in Europe are like sugar and coffee, right? So it goes well. It's Liverpool and Europe are meant to be together more than Liverpool and the Premier League, to be honest. So I would rather be more
Right.
bullish on my chances of winning the Europa League or the UCL as well than actually us going well in the Premier League. But I'm there's a certain positive vibe that is there this year. The manner in which we're winning our games. The Newcastle game, I think, was the biggest turning point so far this season. Uh,
Absolutely.
because we were nowhere in that game and we were outplayed, right from the, the word go. We were making a lot of errors. We weren't able to string passes. But digging deep in that second half, getting your substitutions in a tactic spot on, getting the right players at the right time, and then absolutely being the sucker punch, giving them the sucker punch at the very end. Uh, Nothing like it. I mean, that is
You
what I
know,
feel.
interestingly, like you talked about the AC Milan match, right? The Liverpool versus AC Milan match in 2005. I think, like, if this season goes well, then the Liverpool versus Newcastle match could be very much analogous, like a mini Liverpool versus AC Milan, as compared to what could happen this season. Because honestly, if we would have lost that match, the chips would have been very down because Newcastle was running all over Liverpool in the first half, and that Allison saved it, like, although it was very very good, it was absolutely world class out of the top drawer. It seemed like something which would just be something like a consolation, considering that I was expecting Newcastle to absolutely steamroll Liverpool, but Darwin Nunez came in, scored 2 goals, and I mean, those are the moments which we really lacked last season, because those sort of wins can really define a season, right? In terms of what
This
they can
takes me
do.
back to 2019 when we won the league, right? Mentality monsters. This is what the sort of Liverpool side we're known to be under Jurgen Klopp, and I could see shades of 2019 coming through this season as well. Where we have a good squad, we have enough depth. Now we have depth in midfield. We are falling a bit short at the back, but I think with Kwanzaa coming through is another success story of how Klopp loves to develop youngsters and give them opportunities. Bajcetic last year was a revelation in a rather
Yeah.
underwhelming season. Trent before that, Curtis before that, and Elliott before, and so on. There are so many youth players who come through and played for us and done very well for us. So I can see the mentality monsters in Liverpool right now. But yes, even if Liverpool are 3-0 up, it's Liverpool. They always make life difficult for themselves. So Spurs was an ideal example of last year when we were like 3-0 up against Spurs, and then it took a late Jota winner to win us 4-3 against Spurs, where Klopp actually pulled his hamstring. That's Liverpool for you. It's a roller coaster ride. There's no other club in the world I would rather support, no matter what happens in Liverpool. It's just meant to be the way it is. I feel this season I'm excited to watch games. I have no expectations from us this season. I just want to feel that vibe of going out, being with fellow Liverpool supporters, cheering the team on, being anxious at the same time, and cheering and supporting the team. So every game is going to be difficult for us this season. Even Luton Town is going to pose their own problems to us, and Burnley also is going to pose their own problems to us, right? So no game is going to be easy for us. So Liverpool has no easy games. So I'm optimistic, but I will not put a pin on here and say that this is what is going to happen. I just going to take each game as it comes. I'm just happy I'm getting to see this Liverpool team play, because these are the good moments. Enjoy them, cherish them. That's all.
These are the good moments. I think that is a very, very nice way to sum up this. Yeah, yeah. You want to say something?
Yeah, sorry. Before this, even last when I was in Liverpool, when I was doing the stadium tour, the Liverpool weren't really doing well, and I was there for the Arsenal game, right? And Liverpool weren't really doing well that season, and it was only after the Arsenal game we went on a series of wins. And
Hmm.
Arsenal came in being top of the table. They were not. They were close to the table, close to Man City, but they weren't really top. But they were challenging for the title, and they came in with this aura of we are going to win the league, and scenes of '89 when Arsenal won at Anfield and won the league. So when I was doing the stadium tour, and one of the tour guys, I asked them, "What is the buzz around Liverpool right now?" and what message would you like? Unfortunately, because we are employed by the club, I could not post that video. He said that please don't post the video because it could hamper the job. But he did say one thing, that believe in Klopp, believe in the process, because if there's any man who can pull us out of this mess, is Jurgen Klopp. have faith in the team because we will deliver. It's just how Liverpool operates. Whenever we are down, it's just the way we push ourselves up. And in life in general, Liverpool is a case study you can do for life in general. Whenever the chips are down, we're feeling low. You think of an Istanbul, you think of Messi match on Merseyside. You think of the Borussia Dortmund game that happened out
Yeah,
of nowhere. We have our highs and low, which is why this club is not for the ordinary. It's you either have to be a hardcore romantic or you have to be a madman to love this club. If you don't if you want to cherish your health, stay away from Liverpool Football Club. But if you love pandemonium and chaos and the romance and the heartbreak, this club will naturally happen to you. But yes, coming back to your point, believe in the club no matter. I know things have gone downhill. We didn't really win as many trophies as we should have. But I love this club. I'm optimistic. I hope all of our supporters can be as well. And there's a genuine positive vibe this season, which we felt back in maybe 21, 22, and 2019. So the good days will come. Have patience. Just cherish the ride. It's going to be a roller coaster ride.
those are
Nice.
beautiful, beautiful
Last
words, man.
question.
And before we end this episode, YouTube live, Rahul, any parting thoughts you have, or anything you want to ask Salil?
I just have one last question. Like, as you talk about a good journey right now, so there's one thing about a journey that it ends. So, like, not in a melancholy or sorrow tone, but whom do you wanna see replacing Klopp? Like right now, if you have to replace Klopp with some other manager, whom you?
Anukarsh, I thought we were supposed to have Rahul on the podcast or not Eric Ten Hag, where eras come to an end was a quote where famously claimed by a certain someone
Yeah,
at yeah. But coming back, whenever I'm
right,
not
right.
going to think of when Klopp leaves, when that has to happen, it'll happen. But if ideally in the current scenario, I think Jabi Alonso fits us perfectly. If that day
Huh,
ever
I
came,
believe.
I want Klopp to extend his contract, but if that day ever comes and if there's an opportunity, I would definitely want Jabi Alonso because uh, he knows the club. He's a club legend. He's won big, massive trophies with the club, and uh, he's learned his footballing trade under some of the best coaches in world football, from Benitez to Mourinho to Guardiola at Bayern. For people who may not remember, he's played under so many he was under Spanish setup under Luis Aragonés. He was also under Vicente del Bosque. So he's come through that setup. The current trend of Spanish players who retired and are transitioning into managers is going to be phenomenal. We are already seeing that with Xavi at Barcelona. Alonso is already doing very well with a Bayer Leverkusen team. It's only going to get better from here onwards. Matter of time before the likes of Fabregas and David Silva get into it, and Iniesta will get into it, and they will become really good managers. Is what I feel. Tactically, they are there to become good managers. But yeah, coming to your question, I think if that day ever comes, I think Alonso would be the ideal fit for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, even I feel and resonate with you on that. On that note, first of all, like we have got fans here who want to say one of the most interesting podcasts I feel ever delivered. Again, so thank you, Salil. Thank you, Rahul, for taking out the time. This means a lot to us. And honestly, like this was well worth the wait. It was great having you here, listening about your story, getting inspired also in a lot of ways. Thank you, Salil, for joining in. We look forward to having you soon on YouTube Live, on the podcast, hopefully. And it was a pleasure having you. Yeah, you want to say
Sorry,
something?
before I part, whenever you go to Liverpool, you must visit the city center because you just don't know what sort of gems you unearth.
So we all have one common
Absolutely.
So,
enemy.
so
That's
anyone
it.
who is planning to go to Liverpool or is in Liverpool, I'll show it once again because I love ruining United fans' days anyway.
Even I love it right now. Like, I
So
very
it
much
reads
love
we
it.
played the Manx on a Sunday night and they hardly touched the ball. And you have all the goal scorers below. I'm not able to his Firmino, Salah, Nunez, and so on. It's brilliant. I love this. So anyone who's listening to this podcast, connect with me. Feel free. I would be more than happy to share my journey with you about going to Liverpool and specific places where to go and what you can do there. There's also, of course, connect with me because I don't think there'll be enough time to cover everything in this short span of time. But thank you so much, Anukarsh. It's very kind of you to have me on the show. Thank you, Rahul, for being there. I know I don't really like Chelsea, But as a football fan, I can say only one thing, that these days will they be there. Just support the club. That's all I
Yeah,
can say.
I've been doing it for long, and I won't
Because
like
I
decrease my
because
flow.
unfortunately what has happened with Chelsea is you started Chelsea became famous because of their success. It wasn't
Yeah,
because they were already an established club, maybe like
yeah,
an Arsenal or some other club where they already had a global reach or they had history. It is what it is. Chelsea became
yeah,
relevant after 2003. So unfortunately, people don't like that, but that's the truth. It's only because of success. People are so used to seeing Chelsea being winners for so long. Now they cannot see that they are not winning.
yeah.
So it's a process. It's part of football. That's how it is. But yeah, trust the process.
Even
Good.
I was very much interested in Lampard's reign. Like I love him as a person. Obviously, like it is because of him. Even the phase when they had a transfer embargo, I loved the team. Like Tammy Abraham, he was probably that year's my favorite striker. He that was an emotional team for me. That transfer embargo period for Chelsea.
Yeah, yeah. But
Right, right.
I'm sure it's fun watching Lampard being the second best midfielder in the world after Steven Gerrard because he can pass the fucking ball. He's
I'm sure
better
Rahul
than
has things
Frank
to say to me after
Lampard.
the post.
Steve
Anyway, thank
Gerrard, Gerrard, Steve Gerrard, Gerrard. He'll pass the ball 40 yards. He's big and he's fucking hard. Steve Gerrard, Gerrard.
we are putting out a reel for this. Thank you, Salil, for
Thank
joining
you.
this. This was great. Thank you.
Up the Reds.